To put it bluntly, the show where the Canna-Curious go for straight talk on cannabis. On this podcast, cannabis and pets.
Pets are like members of the family in a lot of cases, but should we be treating them the same when it comes to cannabis? The question is what doses we should give them, if it's even legitimate to give them anything. So to answer that, we have a great panel today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Effie, and I'm a photographer and a lifelong pet owner. I have dogs, cats, horses, and I've recently started using CBD to treat 2 of my dogs.
My name is Alison Ettel. I'm the founder and CEO of Treatwell, and we make tinctures for humans and animals.
My name is Dr. Ashley McCaughan. I'm a veterinarian in Oakland, California, and we are exposed to CBD and THC products, very much like the Treatwell product here that Alison uses from our clients. So I'm here to talk more.
Great, and I'm Whitney Greer, your Canna-Curious host, and also a pet owner, dogs and cats. So let's just throw it out there. We all think that it's possible to use it, but I have friends who are just dosing based on their own, I don't even know what, their own experiences with their pets. And I don't think that is necessarily the best way to go. So what do we tell them? Is there any efficacy there? What should we do?
So as a veterinarian, legally, our hands are a little tied. We can't prescribe nor recommend dosing. So Alison will be the one to talk to you about that. But our clients are coming to us and asking and finding anecdotally this is having a beautiful benefit. So I'm learning more about it as we speak.
Can you tell us a little bit about why people are bringing their pets to you for cannabis treatment? Like what are the ailments?
Yeah, absolutely. Pain, cancer support, anxiety, arthritis pain specifically. We're seeing a lot of that. My very first patient, an older kitty, came to us. His owner had prescribed or self-prescribed a tincture, and she brought it to me and said, look, he feels much better. He's on all of these things, and he's on the CBD product. He's eating better. He's more joyful and playful with his day-to-day existence. And so she educated to me and that's when my education started from her.
Really? Okay. So this is relatively new?
For veterinarians, absolutely, because we're in the Oakland area. We have dispensaries amongst us in the Bay Area, but our education is coming from our clients.
That's really great because you have more and more evidence, right? And it's hard to study that.
Right.
And I know, you got into this from the people perspective, but then you branched out into your tinctures for pets?
We started treating humans for about 20 years, and we started treating animals about 10 years ago, and mainly because they knew that we treated humans for cancer, and the animals had no other option. So they came to us and said, we know you helped cancer in humans, can you just try it on my dog? There's no other options. And we just saw really good results. And it started happening more and more. They started coming to us when there was no other option. Then we started treating seizures, and then we started treating pain, and then we started treating more and more and more. And it came as not just a last resort anymore. Now we can actually choose it as an option instead.
Well, you have a lot of selection here, right? So are we talking about different tinctures for different kinds of ailments?
Yes.
So what do we have there?
The only 2 that were specifically for pets, we do 2 different ratios of CBD to THC. We do 20-to-1 and 1-to-1. You see different sizes because they are different concentrations for different size animals. You want to be very careful not to give a human dose to a small animal. And then these are the acid forms, which was pretty new, even for humans, but we're using them on animals too with fantastic results. They're not specifically for pets, these are, but they're using them for the pets.
What does acid mean? I don't really get that.
Sure, it's actually just the original kind of raw form of THC and CBD on the plant before it's been decarboxylated, which means a fancy way of saying its heat has been applied. So it is non-psychoactive, the raw form of these cannabinoids. We're finding really interesting results from the acids even over the CBD and THC.
Well, I'm curious, why did you eventually get into this for your pet? It was your dog, right?
Yeah, I had my dog on an anti-inflammatory, anti-pain medicine. He's a little bit older, and we're at the horse farm all of the time, so he runs around, and he was a little sore. So I used this on him, and when my other dog had some soreness in her legs, I used the same medication on her, and she had a really bad reaction where I had to take her into the vet. They said it was rare, but they couldn't really give me any information as to why it had happened, what was happening, but she was really sick within just a couple of days of using it. So
Like
I
sick
switched.
how? Give us a.
She
An
wasn't
idea.
eating, very lethargic, tail was drooping, just ended up laying around actually a lot. And she's a husky. She was a young husky, so that's completely opposite from how she normally acts. So I decided to try the CBD to manage her pain. And then my other dog, I took him off of it just because I wasn't comfortable not knowing why my other dog had reacted that way. And you know, it's the kind of thing where if I just need aspirin for my dog, I have to constantly go to the vet and things. And I'm a pretty informed pet owner, so I just like being able to like have the CBD biscuits on hand to give to them as they need it.
So you're doing it in biscuit form. Do you make your own biscuits or do you buy the biscuit?
I purchased the biscuit. The information that I'm getting is all off of the packaging or the website or things. I don't have a vet that I can go to get more information from.
As Alison was saying, mentation, expression on face, whether we're wagging, if we're panting, less panting, more appetite, eager to see us, wants to engage with us. When we come in the room, our dogs come and greet us, right? Our cats sometimes sit on our laps, and if those are occurring with a product like this, then you're probably getting some effect. You're getting an increase in appetite, increase in energy. I'm feeling better, Mom.
I'm curious to hear what you saw too from your using the biscuit. Did you see a difference in your animal's behavior?
Yeah, I think I definitely saw a difference when they were on their anti-inflammatories and the anti-pain meds. But I saw the same thing when I started the CBD. I started them very slow and low, so I don't think I didn't see anything quickly, but I feel comfortable giving it to them regularly now, and they're definitely perkier after they've had a long day at the farm. Their appetite is up and everything, and they're just not, I'm not getting any of the weird effects on CBD that I did with my husky when she had her bad experience with the other medication.
Many of our clients like Effie are coming to us because they're doing things at home that their veterinarians have prescribed, medications being given, pain management not quite being totally covered and supported. And then, so I think CBD has a really nice place in that marketplace for these dogs clinically, these cats clinically, and horses and cows. And
so I've mentioned to some friends that I'm treating my dogs with the CBD, the cannabinoid treatment now, and the question that I get back from them is, are you getting your dog high?
We're not seeing that. When they're using a cannabinoid, they're getting high, they're not having a convulsant reaction. They don't have that psychogenic effect. You're seeing either pain relief or a little bit of sedation at the higher doses, but you're not getting them high. And that's a really important question, so thanks for asking.
Do you have anything to add on that?
I'd say that the way that we recommend for cannabis to be applied for animals is our goal is never to get an animal high whatsoever. None of our products are psychoactive if they're dosed correctly. So you want to, if you look for a higher CBD, which is the compound within it, that is not possible for the animal to get high. What we usually see as maybe a sedation, maybe a couple days they'll get sleepy, but then it goes away over time. But we're talking about this psychoactivity happens with pure THC products most likely.
And you really have to avoid those.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, no THC.
Yeah.
No.
Not pure,
no
pure
THC.
THC with CBD in conjunction works much better.
Got it. Well, let's talk about that because my cat is this big and weighs 10 pounds, and then your horse is, I don't know how big your horse is, but it's got to be way bigger. So how do we adjust dosage? How do we know? And I mean, for me, it's always, I don't want to hurt my pet, right? That would make me feel horrible. And so I'm a little bit, I have trepidation. And can I overdose my pet? And what does that look like? And I don't know if you see overdosing, but that's a concern.
Yeah, we do. Overdosing is a concern. Edibles, chocolate form.
Oh my God, chocolate, anything.
Right.
I mean, I just think like that is like pet owner 101, right? You don't give your cat or dog chocolate, people.
Or too much butter.
Or butter. Oh my God, no, stop. Yeah. So that is where we really need to change that up.
Not pure THC. You want to avoid pure THC for any animal. It's not needed, even for
What
cancer.
happens if you put them on it?
Cats, dogs, all animals are very THC sensitive. So they get convulsing, they lose their mentation, meaning they become more lethargic, or they can become hyper aware, very anxious, very spastic.
Do you ever have someone come in with a pet who's been overdosed?
Yeah, and you go like this, and they go like this. Oh my goodness! It's the bad high that people can get them from crappy pot, but because they're THC sensitive, and then the veterinarian gets involved. Ultimately, there's wear-offs. Gratefully, hopefully, we don't see any deaths associated with a lot of this, but they do have a very bad reaction in some cases.
Well, tell us a little bit about the dosing. How do you start if you're a pet owner?
So actually you had a really good idea. We were talking earlier about her dosing structure, but we usually are pretty customized. So we don't put any dosing instructions on purpose. We're not allowed to. So usually people will email me and I'll give them very specific instructions on where to start. So it depends on what type of animal we're talking about, the weight, and what you're trying to treat. Because you can do all different types of things with cannabis. It can help things from anti-inflammation to end-of-life care and everything in between. So it's kind of a complicated question to answer.
It's not measured in any capacity. Your veterinarian wants to help you, wants to give you advice, medical, guide you in this process, but unfortunately they can't. And so in that way, we are kind of left, our clients are left with their hands kind of up in the air going, where do I get good information? And how do I do this safely? And is it appropriate?
Well, I'm going to turn it over here to the pet owner just to talk a little bit about, your horse. Why would you want to give your horse that kind of medicine?
Thinking, some of them, we do a lot of traveling for shows and things, and some of them just don't like to travel. They're in the trailer and everything, and we've had some horses who've had injuries while trailering to shows and things because they're just anxious and they're kicking and they're upset. So I was curious about using it maybe in a in a capacity to keep them relaxed while we're heading to places.
Well, and the same thing if you're flying with your pet, right? I hadn't even thought about that, but the anxiety there is, it actually brings my anxiety up. I don't know about you, to watch a pet in stress, right? Well, so if you were going to do that, have you been given advice from friends or other pet trainers or, horse trainers?
No, unfortunately not. I mean, the people that I know that are in cannabis, they know how to use it for people, but I don't have any resources for people who have used it with animals or know what they're talking about with it. But it seems like without having information, they don't want to address it. Any trainers or anything like that. They're just like, why would we ever use that for them?
But it would be great. It's anxiety relieving for people. Why not? And you can do it without them getting any kind of high off it, right? Or psychoactivity, as we like to say.
But I will tell you, we're doing horse trials right now, and we've noticed the anxiety is tough to treat in horses. We do animals and dogs and cats all the time. What we've seen better in horses is anything inflammatory based. So gastritis, laminitis, stifle injuries have been fantastic for cannabis, even open sores.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Do you do a tincture right on an open sore?
Yes. All of our stuff can be used topically, especially the acids. They're phenomenal, even for hot spots in dogs. They eliminate them completely.
So what do? You do you just dab a little on a couple times a day?
Yep.
Like you would for anything, right?
Exactly.
Holistic.
And it absorbs right into their skin. And it's made with MCT, coconut oil, so it absorbs very well into their skin. You don't have to worry about them licking it off or anything.
Let's talk a minute about something that I just personally went through that was very hard, which is end of life with an older dog. I was a mess for a year while we went through it. I just felt so terrible. And then at the very end, she was ready to give up the ghost. And I just wonder if there's a way we could have helped her a little better had we known what the options were.
A lot of our clients are educated. They've got their pets on many different types of medications appropriately prescribed by their veterinarian. And then they come in with a tincture, much like Treatwell's, and they say, this is helping. And then I walk around, okay, pass that along. A lot of my clients say, I wish I'd known about this.
Probably the number one thing we do is end-of-life care. And it's very awful to watch for the human and obviously awful for the animal. Mainly, what we see with animals when they're about to pass away is they'll find a quiet spot. They won't act like themselves. They'll stop eating. So they won't have their normal routine. And it's hard for the human to watch that. And they could be in pain. Yeah. So what we see when we actually give the one-to-one tincture for end of life, we've seen the appetite come back. I'll tell you an example of a cat that we just did. It stopped eating, very quiet, away from its own location, didn't want to interact with any humans, stopped eating, stopped doing everything it wanted to do. Gave him the tincture the next day, ate an entire bowl of food, climbed a tree, which it hadn't done in years. This is amazing. And then visited all of its favorite spots right until the day that it passed away. Was never in pain. So they got their cat back. And they were able to say goodbye, and the cat had a wonderful end of life.
Let's talk about medication, because with people, we've talked about in other episodes how we have to be careful how we wean them off of the medication that they are on and substitute it, and start integrating in the CBD. So I'm very curious to know, is it the same?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't just take your animal off of it and let them go cold turkey.
Right. They're scared to talk to their vets, unfortunately, because they're not allowed to talk about it with them. And I say, please find a vet who will listen, because this is important. You need to make sure you're under a veterinary's care when you're stepping off of any medication.
then I want to know.
Right.
And I certainly want to be there to help them if there are any, in the unlikely event, any adverse reactions.
So basically, am I hearing we should not necessarily ask our vet to prescribe? We really can't legally, because you could lose a license for that. But if I brought my vet, an understanding vet, what I'm doing, they can counsel me a little bit on how to be safe with my pet.
Right.
You actually need, obviously, a human recommendation in the state of California before you can purchase it for your animal. Right. I know it's very strange, but
Well,
that's what has
work?
to happen. You literally have to have a legitimate reason from an actual doctor recommendation for cannabis. Then you can actually purchase the product to use for your animal. The animal does not have a recommendation. Right.
It's most likely very safe and very helpful and has its place in our medical toolbox. There's a lot of research in human, in dogs, and in the mice over the last decades that say cannabinoids are helpful, they are part of our human makeup, and there's a lot more research yet to be done because, well, the legal system is tying us a little bit.
I gotcha. And as pet owners, the two of us are, proceeding with caution, I think, is the way it is. But I think the more people talk about it together, and it can at least anecdotally share what's working and what's not working, we have some shot at having more information available to us so that we can make better decisions. And I think that, for me, would be very important because I am interested in keeping my pet healthy and not getting them, on things that I think could actually be worse. I want to thank you very much for helping us cover that topic because there's a lot more to do. And if you have any questions, tune in next time. Maybe we'll have more. Thanks a lot.